Knows you need energy, eh? I'll give it. I'll give it a couple minutes. Dylan thrifted me a Spider-Man shirt, which is pretty cool.
He thrifted you one?
Yeah, he said he was out in St. Louis and he saw this shirt and he bought it for me, and I was like, "That's cool." I was like, "Thank you." So now I'm wearing it for the Spider-Man video.
I unfortunately have a Deadpool shirt for the Spider-Man video.
Well, if I didn't have this, I was just gonna wear a Superman shirt, so it's
I,
gonna be ready
I
to.
I almost grabbed the Superman shirt, and then I was like, nah, it's got to be Marvel. But then it was either Captain America or Deadpool. I was like, you know what? We'll go with Deadpool. Because I do have a
Uh,
Spider-Man shirt somewhere. I just don't know where it's at.
I have a Spider-Man shirt, but Chloe wears it now. But outside of that, I don't think I have a Marvel shirt. I think that's the only Marvel shirt I own. Now this, I guess.
You gotta get more. You gotta get your Marvel game up.
I just don't love Marvel that way. I feel
Listen,
like I don't even.
Marvel and DC for me is like choosing between like children. Like how am I supposed to have a favorite child?
I
That
wish it were
doesn't
the same. I do not feel the same way.
that'd be crazy.
Ugh.
Where are our fans? Where are they at?
That's fine. I can do this without them. It'll still go up on the channel.
Well, right. It's just, live interaction is always nice.
Live interaction is nice. I ought to drive an hour and a half and beat you up.
Why would you drive an hour and a half to beat me up?
Why are you making coffee?
Because I needed coffee.
I'm going to make coffee like 5 minutes ago.
Listen, I don't need the semantics. I don't need to be judged here.
I told you I was gonna contact you around 4:30, 4:45.
I know, but like listen, this is gonna be like the whole creme thing where every scene he's eating every video I gotta be drinking something. I don't know.
You could be drinking something. You just it could have been done beforehand. Tell me when you are
It's
ready and situated. Oh, there is a person here.
we have a person.
The whole person.
There is a
Hi,
whole
person.
person watching us bicker back and forth like brothers.
Yeah, he's making coffee after we started streaming. I
Listen,
hope it's
coffee
still
is an
coffee.
important part of a balanced diet. So are little bites.
Little bites is crazy. I'm grabbing a beer.
I'm grabbing a beer. Oh no, they left.
That's fine. Ugh. All
I'm
right.
hoping we didn't chase them away. I'm hoping they just saw, oh, this is a spoiler review. Let's leave until we see the movie.
I did mention that. That's another thing. It's also the movie's only been out for a couple days, so I'm not even that pressed about it. Are you ready to start, Adam?
Yeah, let's go. Let's talk.
Welcome one and all to Bucket Lord. I am Shad, and I'm joined here with Adam today.
The another quarter of Bucket Lord.
Another quarter of Bucket Lord. We both got to see the Spider-Man Brand New Day movie this past Thursday. Phenomenal movie, incredible movie, and
I think arguably best Spider-Man movie we've gotten.
I'm going to talk through my feelings about that as we talk about this, because I thought that immediately when I left the theater, and then as I kept thinking, I had some more thoughts about it. But I already posted a video about my spoiler-free thoughts. Would you like to give any spoiler-free thoughts before we actually jump into some spoilers?
Yeah. And this this partly goes into like some like interviews that I watched just afterwards with like members of the cast and the director, and I saw one with the musician, the composer who wrote
Michael Giacchino.
Yes, and he was talking about how like yeah, Brand New Day posed like an interesting challenge because he was originally like, well, I'm just gonna reuse the original, like what I've been using for all of these movies. I'm gonna just reuse it, and it's like, well, wait a second, Peter's missing all these things in his life now. So what if I just, and he's talking about how like he physically dropped like notes out of the score to where like it felt more empty because of the fact that Peter has lost so much. And I thought that was just so creative for the score. And then like thinking back to like when the movie starts and you hear the opening score, because the opening score plays like the opening Spider-Man score plays through like the Marvel Studios thing and then like all of that. And you can feel the emptiness because of the notes that he chose to leave out. And like the score for this movie, the music is just so good. It's
It's
so
top
good.
tier. I was as soon as I saw him pop up on screen in the credits, I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. Um the movie itself, absolutely fantastic. Love John Bernthal. I was worried that they weren't going to be able to do Punisher True Justice with a PG-13 rating.
I'm really
Like I was
surprised he
worried
didn't
that
say the F word.
yeah, because PG-13, like legally you're allowed one.
Uno.
And I'm surprised that like we didn't get that. It didn't happen. It almost happened. It almost happened once. And that part was even in the trailer. It almost happened once. Spider-Man hit him with the go home, Frank.
Yeah, get out of here. Yeah, for the Batman, it was Happy Fucking Halloween, I think, and it was real early in the movie. I was like, that's the F word we choose.
Yeah, for real. Um, but yeah, all the actors were great. Special kudos to Sadie Sink. She was fantastic as redacted character that if you have seen the movie, you know, and if you haven't, then stick around for don't stick around for the review. But she was fantastic.
It's just because you're a
Definitely keep an eye
fangirl for
out for
this
her.
character.
You said what?
It's just because you're a fangirl for this character.
Listen, man, it's not just this character, but she was fantastic. John was fantastic. Spider-Man felt felt the closest we've gotten to a true comic accurate Peter Parker since he was introduced in Civil War to me. So to get to see that and to get to see Tom able to do that and able to accomplish that in a very honest way, this movie was a masterpiece. And
I
it's
would like
already
to.
breaking records in terms of in terms of an opening weekend, already breaking records.
I'm really excited. I think it's going to probably by week 2 already hit 1 billion because I think they're already at like 800 something million.
Yeah, I think the opening weekend was like 168 something alone, and like opening weekend doesn't include the Wednesday, Thursday.
Yep.
It only includes Friday, Saturday, Sunday numbers.
Well, I guess I'm going to segue into spoiler stuff. I'm really going to start with it feels like we're going to get right into bickering. I'm going to. It feels like comic accurate Spider-Man. I feel like Spider-Man hasn't felt like comic accurate Spider-Man in the comics for well over a decade. Like the things that people dog on on the Tom Holland Spider-Man 4, like the Homecoming trilogy, like he's an Iron Man Jr. He doesn't have hardships. Uh he doesn't have to like deal with his mistakes. He doesn't have to deal with like the real fallout for a lot of the decisions he makes. I the past like decade of Spider-Man in comics has been like that, and it I don't like that, but it kind of frustrates me whenever people are like, "Oh, it's not. He hasn't been a comic accurate Spider-Man. He he has struggled. That's a Spider-Man trait. He stands up for the little guy. That's a Spider-Man trait. He exemplifies the great power with great responsibility way before he was told. In this universe, he hasn't even told. He has not even been told. With great power comes with great responsibility until No Way Home. We haven't even seen Uncle Ben before in this universe. Like it's a really weird thing to dog on this version of Spider-Man for, even though he's been built different since the start. Like he is not our comic book Spider-Man, and it's a strange thing to. He was. I feel like he was never going to be our comic book Spider-Man, and now he is starting to fill a mold. I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way.
I can understand that. It's just, to have two like fantastically, despite some issues with the second one, to have two fantastic versions of Spider-Man, despite how some people have issues with the second one, and then to go into Tom Holland being like completely different, just like a completely different world. And yeah, I understand like they had to come up with a reason to bring him into the MCU, all these different things.
It also is a
But
completely different world. There are other superheroes.
right, exactly. And to feel like it just, this is now starting to feel like the Peter that you grow up with, the one who's poor, having problems, completely alone, doing things by himself for the most part, you know, other than his tenuous friendship with Mr. Frank Castle. Um, to see that coming out of, it's just interesting to see Peter have things and have them taken away versus to never have anything, to have had anything to begin with. That's an interesting thing that this version has done, because you took away Tony, and then you took away Aunt May, and then you took away everybody else in his life. You took away the fact that Peter Parker even exists, which has been done in the comics, technically speaking,
Yep.
um, in a very different way. And, you know, I just thought it was, I just thought it was so crazy that, just interesting in a way that really sold. I think this finally sold Tom completely for me as Spider-Man.
I have
For me.
outrageously different opinions, but I guess we should actually talk about Brand New Day.
Yeah.
I would like to talk about some negatives, and then we could just go on and on about all the great things about the movie. Something that I had a real big problem with throughout this movie. I don't know what Peter was doing for a job. Like what he he was living somewhere. I saw him. He ordered Little Caesars pizza. Like he had to have some sort of income. Like I have no idea
and all
how
the
he was.
technology too.
And he had a bunch of technology. I was like, how are you affording these things? Like we were told he is poor, but I didn't see him
But
work.
yeah, like you don't see him like actually, unless Spider-Man breaking the law a little bit,
Just a
you know,
wee bit.
he might be it's fine if you steal the tech from billionaires. It's fine. No, it's not. It's never fine to steal. Don't steal things,
Stealing is
kids.
bad. Yes.
But but no, I completely I understand where you're coming from on that, and I did think about that. I was like, I didn't really like my brain didn't really register it until after I had watched the entire movie, and I was
Yeah.
watching another interview, like somebody else's spoiler review or whatever. I can't remember which creator it was, but was watching somebody else's review, and they were like, yeah, where is this poor guy getting all this stuff from? And I'm like, I didn't even think about that when I was sitting down watching the movie. Like, I'm
Which
sitting
is
here watching the movie, I didn't even think about the fact that Peter's supposed to be poor right now because he doesn't exist. What is he doing for work? Who's paying this man?
which is really good. That's a good thing for the movie where I was immersed so much that I didn't really have time to think about. Wait a second, Peter, how are you affording your bills?
Not only how are you affording your bills, but I mean, like, you're ordering the cheapest pizza on the market, and like, it was just. It's
Food
like
for
you're
thought.
affording all this crazy technology. Man, skip out once or twice for Domino's or something. Like, why Little Caesars?
I also think,
Other than the
uh,
fact that
do
they probably paid for the marketing.
Chloe, what was you said? There was like a car marketing, and there was like big Samsung plugs, BMW, Samsung. Like he had the flip phone, the Samsung flip phone. I was like, there's a lot of branding in this movie.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. There was kind of off topic. There was actually a Samsung. There is a Samsung ad related to Spider-Man about the flip
I saw that
because
afterwards.
yeah, so did I. Where he's breaking all these phones because where's he keeping it? So he's breaking all these phones because he doesn't really have pockets or anything to protect it. So like every time he comes home, he's throwing a phone in the bucket and then he's getting a new phone.
How's he
Or
affording that?
well, he was 3D printing them.
Ah,
But where did he get the 3D printer?
where did he get the 3D printer?
Where did he get the money for a 3D printer? Where are you getting the money for that, Peter? Where?
Do you have a negative? I have a couple more, but I was trying to alternate a little bit.
Um,
It's cool if you don't.
I'm like racking my brain to think of like stuff because like that was a really good one that I thought of, and then like in terms of negatives, it's just I mean honestly, it's mostly minor stuff. Like, and it was honestly there was some stuff that like I had a problem with during the movie, but it eventually resolved itself. Like for example, like my girl Sadie. You know, I wasn't exactly a fan at first of the way that they were portraying her abilities
Yeah.
because, you know, they missed a very important one, but then she gets it at the end. So I was
Still
like,
developing.
okay,
Yep.
that's an interesting way to like she's been working towards like she's been working towards getting stronger. So in a way she just like unlocked another part of herself and then unlocked another part and then keeps unlocking these pieces, you know. And I just thought that was interesting, but at the time I was like, are they gonna just completely forget about the fact that like I understand that they're like referencing the fact that she's a telepath. Are they just gonna completely ignore the fact that she also is telekinetic, but then
Yeah.
she gets the telekinesis at the end?
Speaking of Sadie
Justice
Sink,
for my girl.
I
Justice for
think
my girl.
I feel like outside of maybe Spider-Man 3, Amazing Spider-Man 2, uh, I felt like Sadie Sink was a really weak villain. I did not like she was a good antagonist. I was fine with her as the antagonist for this story, but I did not love her as the villain of this movie. Like for at least in the Tom Holland movies, I really like that Vulture. What's his tie to Peter? Peter wants to date the daughter. Interesting. Mysterio. Peter's trying to give up his responsibility. A concept he has not been told face to face by anybody yet. the great power, great responsibility. So I'm like, okay. And then in No Way Home, we get to see him bounce around all of everybody else's villains, which I think is really interesting. Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2, they do a great job with their villains. I didn't love Sadie Sink as the antagonist for this movie. It worked for this story.
I will say, in reference to that, she makes a good antagonist,
Mm-hmm.
but only if you don't consider her the main villain. Like, I kind of had to take myself out of the headspace of like, oh, she's supposed to be the villain, because that's kind of the twist
Yeah.
that they make at the end, is like, she wasn't really a villain throughout the whole movie. Like, yeah, she does some really, really bad stuff.
I think Jean gets off way too easy at the end of this movie.
Yeah, definitely does. She definitely does. But I think that just goes to show the power and the responsibility of Peter and how
Mm-hmm.
much he's grown to be this. Because Spider-Man has always been one of, if not the most hopeful person in the Marvel universe, in terms of just like, despite everything that he's been through. Oh, somebody said hi in the comments.
Oh, hi.
Yo. Um, but the, the biggest thing, like, it's just, she definitely gets off way too easy. But like I was saying, it goes to show how Peter, despite everything that he's been through, still holds people in the best light that he possibly can.
I thought a lot about. I was feeling a lot of Winter Soldier feelings as I watched this movie with the relationship between Bucky and Cap, and it wasn't as antagonistic as the Bucky, but I was feeling a whole lot of, because Captain America was trying his darndest not to have to put hands on Bucky because he was like, "I'm trying to save you," and I really felt that towards the end of this movie with Spider-Man, where he was like, I'm just trying. I just want to help you. I'm sorry. Like he's like, I know I messed up. Let me help.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the really interesting part of the end of the movie. And we're jumping around, but like the end of the film, the really interesting part is it doesn't come to blows.
Uh,
Literally, the main hero of the movie is Aunt May.
1 second. My name is Shad, and that's Adam.
Hello.
Main hero of the movie is Aunt May.
The main hero of the movie is Aunt May at that point. Like,
And I think that's really cool. That was a really good idea.
that was a fantastic idea. And it also shows the conversation that happened after the end credit scene of Homecoming. Because the idea you're supposed to get is that this is the conversation that stemmed from Aunt May going, "What the at the end
Yeah.
of Homecoming when she sees him take off the mask." And that the this was the like the payoff. We get the payoff 3 movies later. And the idea that this was the payoff and that's how that conversation went was so good.
I didn't realize, and I've always been a big fan of the Stark outfit. I didn't realize how much I really liked it until I saw it again. I was like, the Stark outfit. I was like, ooh. People don't like all the details and stuff on it, but I enjoyed it, and it also I believe that Tony Stark would make that outfit.
I think this has to be my favorite costume, especially of the Holland costumes.
I don't agree, but it is a great costume. It is a great classic Spider-Man costume, but I can go a million places for a classic Spider-Man costume.
I just like the fact that, like, in a way that we haven't gotten from a Spider-Man almost ever, you can see a lot more of what Tom is doing behind the mask.
Yeah.
We are talking about Spider-Man: Brand New Day. We're talking about spoilers too. So if you have not seen that movie, you're allowed. You can stay, but I don't want to. We don't want to spoil you. That is what we are doing. You're welcome to stay though.
Yeah, definitely welcome to stay. But if you haven't seen the movie yet and you're not a fan of spoilers, I would not necessarily recommend it unless because we're going to talk about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
But yeah, I liked the fact that you could see like what was going on with his face behind the mask
Yeah,
versus like the head shell that like all of them have always worn that just makes it look better. But like I just really liked the fact that you could see what was going on to the point to where like there were points where you even got to see behind the fact that the eyes are see through.
yeah, yeah. You could see into his eyes, like if you got close enough.
Yeah, and the camera did get close enough several times that you could see the emotion back there. They do it in the fight with the Hulk, which was so cool.
Oh, I was really hoping, and I'm not upset that it didn't happen. But as Spider-Man was fighting the Hulk, there's a iconic Spider-Man panel where he like punches the Hulk into space, and I don't know. He was going through mutations, and he was clearly punching above his weight class whenever his eyes went all black. And I was like, is he gonna like fight the Hulk? But no, the Hulk so the Hulk was throwing him around.
Yeah, I did like the fact that this movie really did a lot for fan service without making it feel like
Like the
without
end of the
making it
Flash
feel like
movie.
shoehorned, without making it feel like they had to force it in there. Because I mean, we got
We
to
have a second
see
person. Hi, second person. Oh, they left. My bad.
um we got to see the tarantula, we got to see Tombstone, we got Scorpion, we got Boomerang. Like we got all of these different like lower tier Spider-Man villains necessarily. I mean Scorpion and Tombstone definitely not. But
Yeah.
like the Tarantula and Boomerang definitely more on the lower tier in terms of Spider-Man villains.
I really wish that we had them like dispersed throughout the movie instead of a montage at the very beginning because I'm really thankful to go like, oh, Spider-Man's fought all these guys, but then that's it, and I was like, oh, okay. Like we run to Scorpion, but Scorpion isn't even Scorpion; he's being possessed. We see the hand. The hand isn't even the hand; they're being possessed, and I'm like, okay.
I thought that was really cool too, especially because they teased it in the trailer to make us think that we're getting Daredevil again, and it's
I was
not
so
happening.
upset. I'm so upset that we got a movie with Spider-Man and Punisher, but we haven't before we get Daredevil and Spider-Man. That does kind of upset me.
I mean, we got Matt Murdock and Peter Parker. We did
That
get
is
that.
not the same. Yeah. Uh there were a lot of whenever he was talking to the damage control guy, I can't remember his name. I remember he's in the Severance show. He's in the show Severance. What, Chloe? Yeah, he's Mr. Milchick in Severance. And as soon as I started this movie and I saw him, I was like, I don't trust this guy because he plays a super duper way too friendly boss in Severance, but he is not a good person. And I was like, this guy's bad. But whenever Spider-Man's talking with him, like he goes into the office with him, talks to him, then he leaves, and he comes back. He has really Columbo-like mannerisms. Like he came back in and he was like, "Oh, one more thing," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "What are you doing with the hand, Spider-Man?" And he was like, "Blah blah blah blah," and then I don't know, it was really really Columbo. It was strange. And the chili. Oh, and then Frank and the chili. Thanks, Chloe. Whatever Frank had the chili's a big
Oh,
Columbo thing. I don't know, just really small things. We are Columbo fans.
well, I assume that with the Columbus, you're talking about the fact that he like really like over accentuates and talks with his
Yes,
hands.
yes.
So I actually love that because that's the
Oh, I
exact
loved it
same
too.
way that's the exact same way that that they do that Andrew does it in his films.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way that he emotes when it comes to being behind the mask. That's the way that he like really accentuates his acting. Like in The Amazing Spider-Man when he's talking to Gwen and telling Gwen, no, you're gonna be in danger. Like you need to back off. Like you need to stay over there. Stop putting yourself in danger. And he's like yelling at her, but like he's doing it with like his hand motions instead of just that way we
He has a
actually
mask
know
on.
what's going on.
Yeah. All right. Bye. Thank you for coming. Adam, I have a hard question for you.
What's up?
Do you think this movie was better than Spider-Man 2?
That is a difficult question.
I personally hold Spider-Man 1 higher than Spider-Man 2. I think the first Spider-Man movie is probably the best, one of the best superhero movies in my brain. But I recognize that Spider-Man 2 is a top tier Spider-Man movie. So I'm not trying to argue that. Spider-Man 2 versus Brand New Day.
I think I'm gonna have to go with a tentative yes.
Mmm. Mmm.
Because I think this movie, like I love Spider-Man 2. And I love that version of Doc Ock. That movie is so good. But I like the fact that this movie throws so many curveballs. In terms of you honestly, at any point in the movie, you don't necessarily know who the true villain is.
Yeah.
Who the true, like, because there really is no real villain in this movie except for Bill Mesker, because fuck that guy.
Yeah, that. Yes.
Um, but you really don't, because despite everything that she does, Jean doesn't feel like a villain. She definitely feels like somebody wronged her like 9 ways from Sunday. Like somebody fucked her up bad.
Yep.
And you know, it was Bill Mesker. But anyway, because fuck that guy. Um but in a lot of ways, like she doesn't feel like a villain. She just feels like, and this is actually a really great thing for the intro into the X-Men, because she's grown up on her own, and grown into she's kind of grown into a level of anger that is reminiscent of a child who didn't necessarily understand all the things that were going on to them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, well, they took my sister because both of us are special. They didn't know that I was special. They only were looking for her. And
She's a child lashing out.
right, exactly. And you get that feeling more so than you get the feeling of her being a villain to Peter. Because in all honesty, none of that's another interesting thing for Spider-Man is this story, instead of for all of the other reasons that the other three movies happened, because none of them were ever really involved Peter. They all involved Peter because Peter got himself involved.
Mm.
but this one felt the most natural for a reason for Peter to get involved. In terms of, the first two Tom Holland movies were both disgruntled Stark employees. Both people pissed off at Tony Stark.
Yeah.
And then the third one was people pissed off at other versions of Peter Parker that weren't Peter. This one felt the most like something that Peter as a character would feel very strongly about, in terms of trying to get involved in whatever is going on. Because, I mean, he's throwing himself into his work, and then all of a sudden, this telepath comes onto the scene and is controlling people to try and get to damage control. And right now, Peter thinks damage control is the good guy, so this person must be the bad guys. So I gotta go
Yep.
deal with this person. And then, you go through all of that and then Jean's like, well, if you're not going to get out of my way, then I'm going to give you a reason to get out of my way. Which just kind of doubles down for Peter, because once you start messing with MJ and Ned, then, all bets are off.
You're gonna get beat up then. Yeah. You're an enemy.
Right. And I think they do a really good job of redeeming her after the fact. Because Peter realizes that, oh no, I really screwed up this time. Like, I really made a bad decision. Like, yeah, what Jean's doing is wrong, but she might have a point.
I feel like you're slightly minimalizing Homecoming and Far From Home. I feel like Homecoming is really, really similar. Homecoming, he gets the Stark suit. He tries to throw himself into the work of being a superhero because he's trying to be like, I belong with the big dogs. And he gets wrapped up in the disgruntled Stark employee, but it's a little deeper than that. Aren't they also damage control? Wasn't it damage control that comes in? Or is this pre-damage control?
This was when Tony first established damage control.
Okay, so like
Because these guys were, so Adrian's team was originally hired to pick up all the like alien tech and stuff. They were originally hired to come and clean up New York. And then Tony establishes damage control, and damage control comes in and kicks them out.
Steals the
And not
job.
only does damage control come in and kick them out, but they're like, oh yeah, and you're like, we know you were under contract. Yeah, you're not getting paid.
But yeah, Peter
Like,
throws
you were under
himself
contract for all this
into
work.
he throws himself into trying to solve this vulture stuff, and then he gets way over his head with the boat scene, and then he gets the boot from Tony, and he gets his suit taken away, and then Peter has to rely on his own instincts because then he uses his old suit again, and he goes to confront the thing that he knows is right, even though all the adults are like, "Hey, you gotta sit down. This isn't your fight. You're friendly neighborhood Spider-Man." But Peter knows that it's not only the right thing to do, it is going to help. I don't know. I feel like you're lowballing the first two Homecoming movies. While it is not as personal for Peter, which I could argue because he's trying to date the daughter of the bad guy, while it's not as personal for Peter, Peter still not only rises to an occasion, Peter rises to an occasion where there would have been no fault if Peter didn't do it. There would have been no problem if Peter hadn't taken out the vulture. Not that there wouldn't have been a problem, but like that wasn't Peter's problem. That was not Peter's level, and he chose to do it anyways because it's the right thing to do. Great power comes great responsibility, but he doesn't know that. He is learning it. And that's why I love the Home Trilogy. The Home Trilogy is a breeding ground to make to make a comic Spider-Man. There's a whole Marvel universe, and since he is the baby of the Marvel universe, and not again, in the comics, Spider-Man he's not in high school for very long. He's in high school for maybe 12, 13 issues, and then he goes into college. So the fact that we spend time with Spider-Man in high school is already not even a comics thing. So I don't know. it grinds my gears. Every diss to the Homecoming trilogy kind of grinds my gears. And with Far From Home, another thing. Well, he just dealt with Thanos, and he's like 16, and then he comes back. He's like, you know what? Maybe I do want to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's like, maybe this is above my pay grade, but it's too late for that. And in juxtaposition, instead of him throwing himself in, Nick Fury, even though it's a scroll, Nick Fury comes to him. He's like, "Hey, you're in the big leagues. Get back out there." And that's way too much stuff to put on a child. And he crumbles and hands it over to Mysterio. Again, you're right. Disgruntled Stark employee. That's that connection. But at the same time, it is an adult figure that has power, and he's trying to not have to hold the responsibility. I don't know. I feel like you got to rewatch those the home trilogy because I think that Spider-Man, Tom Holland has been Spider-Man since the first movie. From as soon as I saw him giving directions to that old lady across the street or something, and then he's on the phone with Happy while he's eating. He's like, "Yeah, I got it wasn't a churro, but it was something." He was like, "Yeah, this old lady gave me your food, and these are all the things I've been doing because he's Spider-Man." I don't know. I don't know. I just can't agree. Tom Holland's been Spider-Maning it at full capacity since the first movie.
I can concede to that. I just
He's
mostly
not
my
poor.
point was this was just
Sorry.
no, you're good. This was just the most least personal battle that he's fought.
Correct. I do agree.
And I think that it's just really Spider-Man always it's the Parker luck. You know, he always is getting involved in things that like he maybe necessarily, don't necessarily involve him,
Yeah, what are
He's
the
he's
odds that the main
always
bad guy is my girlfriend's dad? Parker Luck.
right, exactly. Exactly. What are the odds that that happens? And it's those things that make it is those things that make a
Yeah.
Spider-Man, And yeah, those are like I said, this just feels like it's the most impersonal, personal fight that he's had to have.
I
Because Gene and Bill Mesker and like the whole idea of the beginning of mutants is so far removed from Spider-Man
mm-hmm.
that it's interesting to think of that connection and how it came about. Like, how do you even think to be like, oh, well, other than the fact that like Spider-Man ends up becoming really good friends with Wolverine in the comics,
Yeah.
they end up being buddy buddy. Um, how as a writer do you think, okay, well this is the perfect soft introduction to the X-Men right here in a Spider-Man movie.
I
Then to
wonder
do it as well as they did it.
I wonder if that was an idea from the writer of this movie or if it was like a mandate. Like maybe Kevin Feige was like, I want to soft introduce the X-Men into the MCU, do it in the Spider-Man movie.
It's possible. Cause I know Sadie is supposed to be back for Secret Wars, but none of the other rumored or confirmed castings are supposed to show up in Secret Wars. So we know Jean's gonna be back. And there is no film in between Doomsday and Secret
Secret
Wars.
Wars, yeah. I have a couple lighter things to run by you. Like, how do you think Spider-Man knows Yelena?
In all honesty, I think they've probably just run into each other because of the fact that Peter was throwing himself so deeply into work that more than likely he's run into both sets of new Avengers. He's run into the Thunderbolts, and he's probably run into Sam's people too.
New Avengers. I have the conundrum. Where in this timeline does Daredevil season 2 take place? And where was Spider-Man? If he was throwing himself, if for 4 years he was doing balls to the wall Spider-Man, where was he during Daredevil? New York went into martial law. There was like literally riots on the streets. Where was Spider-Man? I'm genuinely, I'm really interested. Where is that on the timeline?
That is a very, very good question. Like, where? Because like there's never any mention of Fisk.
He was the mayor.
He became the mayor of New York City, and yet not a single movie has mentioned it.
Spider-Man didn't show up. Captain America and his Avengers didn't show up. Yelana and her group didn't show up. Like, there are so many heroes in New York, and I'm like, I was like, how did Daredevil happen?
Yeah, because you can't even explain it with like other things that are happening. Because like, even if you had like, you could say for the sake of argument that like you could say for the sake of argument that like maybe Brand New World was happening at the exact same time. So Sam is, busy in Sam's busy in DC dealing with the Red Hulk.
Red Hulk. Yep.
Okay, cool. Maybe the new Avengers weren't officially established. So maybe this takes place before Sam's set of new Avengers is established. That's possible. And Born Again Season 2, no, that didn't come out before Thunderbolts because that was more recent.
Correct.
So unless it happened, and it's not possible that the two things happen simultaneously, because you can't tell me that Fisk was that if the Sentry and the Void were putting belt to ass in New York City, you can't tell me that Fisk wouldn't have been like, Fisk doesn't hate Daredevil that much.
No, that was the day that Veronica was at the hospital. Fisk didn't come out.
Right. He just didn't come out of the hospital that day.
Ay. But no, sorry.
And then, but there's almost no way to explain why Spider-Man wasn't there, though. Because...
Hi, friend. They came back.
Hello. There's no way to explain why he wasn't there, because even if, like, he's facing Tombstone, even if he's facing any one of the villains that he faced in that time skip, it doesn't work. It just doesn't logically work in the way that there's no way to explain why he wasn't there.
So I'm rolling into it. The next one. So where's Hulk in the Doomsday trailer? Because if he was just shipped off to go to just some like psych ward area, I'm sure Thor would be like, "Hey, where's Hulk? Oh, he's at the psych ward. Go grabs him, brings him back. Hey, get angry. We need you right now." I'm also
unless
weirded
unless nobody that is in Doomsday knows where Banner is at. Because Spider-Man's not officially in Doomsday.
But Yelana has contacts to Spider-Man. And she would know that Spider-Man's the last person that dealt with Hulk.
This is true. This is very true. Unless they're, I think it's very possible that after everything, Banner and Hulk are going to take some time away. I think...
Time away since what, huh? Since She-Hulk? Time away since Endgame, which he was barely in?
Well, not what I mean by that is bro just got the angriest that he has ever been. Bro just got completely taken back over by the strongest version of Hulk we have seen.
That's true.
Banner's gonna have to go on some self-discovery.
For the ninth,
and it would be the perfect time to give him a movie. The perfect time
I'd
to
love
give him a
for a
movie.
Hulk movie. It's ridiculous that we haven't gotten a Hulk movie.
I know, but that was more so for the for any Marvel executives that decide to watch after this. I'm sorry, I'm coughing. So,
I have a really quick thing to
give
bring
Mark
up,
Ruffalo a movie.
Hulk related. There's a guy, London. I was sitting next to him whenever I went to see the Spider-Man movie. I told him, he kept talking to me during the movie, and so I talked back. And then I was like, I have a YouTube channel. I talk about superhero things. And then he joined. I was like, this is so wrong. He was telling me, he was like, if this Hulk was fighting Thanos, he wouldn't have lost. I was like, that is incorrect. I was like, Thanos beats Hulk 10 times out of 10, especially with the Power Stone.
Yeah, well, Hulk and Thanos, the thing with that fight is, like, for the amount of times that Hulk has beaten Thanos, Thanos has also beaten Hulk in the comics. Like, they trade blows pretty often in terms of, like, one time this guy will win and one time Hulk will win, one time Thanos wins, one time Hulk wins. It's because of the fact that, the angrier Hulk gets, the stronger he gets.
Never
This is an
confirmed
angry
in the
dude.
MCU.
Yeah, now confirmed. Now 100% confirmed. But the angrier he gets, like, there is no limit to how strong Hulk can get. But think about it. If you're fighting angry, you're not thinking about how you're fighting.
Correct. You're just lashing out.
Right. You're just swinging on people. Thanos is strong without being angry. And Thanos is also extremely combat trained, which Hulk is not. So, due to that combat training, because in Infinity War, you see on the glove, Thanos does not activate a single stone to fight the Hulk.
Yeah, he took him out.
Thanos does not activate a single stone. And I think a lot of that comes from the Hulk being... This is, like, during that prime, like, transition period between when Hulk goes from Savage Hulk to just being the Hulk, and then to becoming Professor Hulk. The Hulk is becoming complacent because he's never met anybody that could beat him. So it's not even necessarily that he's too angry to win against Thanos. It's he became too complacent. It's like if you have a heavyweight boxing champ who's never lost, and you get one guy that gets a lucky like, not even necessarily a lucky shot in, but, like, he's actually better than you, and he fights you, and you lose. It's because of the fact that the heavyweight champ got complacent. The Hulk lost his ability to treat every fight like it's his first. That's the thing with the Hulk, is, like, he's strong, but he realizes much too often how strong he is, because he realizes that he's the strongest, but he thinks it too much.
Mm-hmm.
Versus a character like Spider-Man, a character like Superman, a character like Batman that's like, oh, well, yeah, I may be really good, but I can never act like I'm really good. Because if the minute I start thinking in my head that I'm really good,
Almost gonna get me.
somebody's gonna get one up on me.
Um, I've written a bunch of stuff down. Peter and his black eyes throughout this movie. Mutation or Venom? Do you believe it is a mutation, or do you think that maybe it might be a Venom related thing?
It's definitely mutation. It's definitely mutation. Because they throw too many hints at like the black eyes throughout the movie with regards to just him doing all that creepy research into spiders and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, Peter, if Peter had come into contact with the Venom symbiote, like physical contact, they wouldn't have off-screened that. At least not in my opinion. I don't think that they would have off-screened something like that.
I don't know. They
I
off
don't think it
screened the fact
necessarily
that
makes.
he met Yelena. Yeah, they off screened the fact that I don't know. I don't think it's above them to off screen it because a lot can happen in 4 years.
This is true. I think that they're probably gonna go more so. I know Tom Hardy's Venom left behind a piece of Venom,
Mm-hmm.
a small piece of Venom in 616. I think more than likely he comes into contact with the symbiote on on Battle World the same way he does in the comics.
Which would make the most sense. I'm not necessarily Team Venom. I do lean more towards Mutation. Uh, One of the few things that has me thinking, I feel like Peter got over it really easily, which is why which is why I have like this smidgen of maybe it's Venom because once he was like, "No, I have locked in," and then he kind of like overcame it. I was like, "Okay," "Oh, all right, I guess."
I think that was more so the fact that I think the reason why he didn't have the control and then all of a sudden he gets his control. I think the reason why is because of the fact that he's fighting it versus accepting it. It's the same concept as, Hulk becoming Professor Hulk because Banner accepts certain parts of Hulk.
Yep.
The issue then becomes though that the reason why she's able to take control of Banner and then Banner becomes Savage Hulk instead of going back to being Professor Hulk is because of the fact that without that inhibitor, because of the fact that Banner hasn't accepted all of Hulk, Hulk is able to take back over. Because Hulk and Banner cohabitate the same mind, and neither one of them wants to accept when the other one's in control.
Mm.
That's why there's that duology. Versus, I think if they would have went the avenue of Peter just keep fighting it, keep fighting it, keep fighting it, like without the the inhibitor chip, if they'd have went that avenue, he would have ended up becoming Man Spider and so like splitting off that way. But because of the fact that he learns to accept his full mutation, I think that's why we get it. We get it the way that we do is because of the fact that he now accepts his mutation and he overcomes it because it was never meant for him to fight it to begin with. It was always part of his instincts. It just took a while for it to come out. You know, it's essentially spider puberty. Is essentially what he went through.
Another thing
It's
that
just
has me
it's
on
just
the Another thing that has me on the verge of could it not be a mutation? Could it be Venom? We canonically do not know this Peter's origin. Like, I assume he was bitten by a spider. I guess. Like,
This is true.
there's not really an Oscorp, so where'd spider come from? I hope it's not a multiversal spider. That idea kind of really pisses me off. There were a lot of things in that Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man show. It was cool. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna watch season 2. But there are a lot of little things that really triggered me. And one of those little things was that it was the spider from the future that went to the past that bits Peter. And I was like, you can't do it that way.
Yeah, that's not how life works.
It frustrated me.
That's
I have more things. Post credit scene. So whenever I watch the post credit scene, my immediate thing was, oh, incursion. London, the guy beside me, he was like, oh, Miles Morales. And then I spoke to one of our followers, Radiant, on TikTok, and they're like, I just thought Peter was in space, and I was like, I didn't even think about that. Well, what do you think the post credit scene was indicating? Was trying to tell us?
so. I don't think it's just our Peter in space because of the fact that there's still like an active. So somebody pointed it out to me online that there is still an active beacon in New York of Spider-Man during that post-credit scene.
Mm-hmm.
There is an active beacon in New York that gets activated, and then the beacon goes, "Oh, there's another sighting," and then it starts zooming out, and it's like, okay, so I think incursion is an interesting idea, especially considering the fact that Toby is supposed to be back. We don't know about Andrew, but we do know that Toby is supposed to be back for Secret War.
Yeah, and also Doomsday and Secret Wars are the next 2 movies.
Exactly. But somebody else also pointed out to me that the spider tracker glitches twice. And the colors of the glitches is the same colors of the glitches in Into the Spider-Verse and Beyond the Spider-Verse. They're the Miles colored glitches.
I'll have to rewatch it. I didn't catch that.
But I have to say, none of those things occurred to me in the theater. The one thing that occurred to me in the theater is who the hell downloaded Ned's app in space? Who's in space looking at Spider-Man being like, hey, let me let Ned know where he's at.
He's right here. Ned,
Who out here in the middle of space letting Ned know where Spider-Man went? That was like my biggest thought is like, who downloaded his app? Who is out here in space downloading this app?
The Guardians. It's Rocket Raccoon.
And I'm like, that was like that was a funny thought that came to my mind, but that was also the first thought that came to my mind. Is I'm like, who downloaded his app?
Freaking so
Like
Thunderbolt.
How did Ned become this famous?
It was the little goatee he had. Yeah, it drew in everybody.
Freaking CEO.
Thunderbolts and Brand New Day. Both movies do not have a villain. They have an antagonist. Well, how do you feel about that? I don't think it was back to back. I don't think the last Marvel movie Thunderbolts. I cannot remember. It's been a while now.
No.
Was it Brave New World? I can't. I don't know. I do not know. Not off the top of my head.
I can't remember.
But both Thunderbolts
And I don't have anything by me to research it.
Yeah, the thing I researched with, I'm recording with. So
right, exactly.
How do you feel that both Thunderbolts and Brand New Day, they didn't really have villains?
I actually like the idea of antagonists just because of the fact that it creates a more complex. It creates for a more complex story. Because it creates different motivation. it's the entire idea behind the fact that Eric and Charles are friends, but they're also enemies. You
Yeah.
know, Magneto isn't. Magneto is a villain in most of the comics. You know, you've got runs where like he's sort of an anti-hero. You've got runs where he takes over the X-Men, you know, but it's it's interesting to see how that plays out on film in terms of, you know, having somebody that's got they've got good intentions but the ends don't justify the means.
I was
Cuz
sorry, continue.
I was just going to say cuz, you know, Jean in this movie is just looking for answers on her sister. She's
Hmm.
not really trying to be this bad person, but at the same time she's not getting the answers she wants. And so that pushes her to go farther and farther because of the fact that she's a kid with superpowers that doesn't really understand what's going on.
No one's giving her the talk.
Nobody was around to give her. I mean, her sister was starting to like teach her how to use her powers, but that's really it. You know, it's it's one of those things where like, and with with the Sentry, it's kind of the same thing because Bob, the Sentry, and the Void all cohabit the same body,
Bobby.
and they don't. Yeah,
Yeah,
Bobby.
sorry.
They all cohabitate the same body, and it's not it's not necessarily that there's. I mean, Bob at first really kind of doesn't know that there are
Hmm.
other people inside of him, but the Sentry and the Void realize that each other are there in a way. It's not like a multiple personality disorder in the same way that Moon Knight is, where there's there's a hidden personality, like each personality kind of hides from each other.
Yeah.
It's no, the hero part and the villain part, yeah, they know each other is there. And you know, the Sentry at least in the Thunderbolts, the Sentry is kind of, in a way, he's being treated more like an attack dog than he is a hero
Yeah.
because of the fact that Valentina got to him first.
Yeah, she twisted him around.
It's yeah, it's just one of those things where, you know, you once somebody that doesn't really understand the world gets kind of wrapped around somebody else's finger, it's very difficult to undo that wrap, you know. And that's kind of the direction that that entire movie has to take.
I
Is
have a I have a very not related to Spider-Man question, but it is something Chloe and I have talked about in the past. I don't know how they would bring Magneto into modern day because I feel like a large part of Magneto's identity is that he is a Holocaust victim, and that's a thing where you're talking about like he is a villain, and some yes, I get I know he's a villain. He does bad things and the ends do not justify the means, but at the same time even larger of a sympathy factor than Jean Grey in this movie. He's a Holocaust victim. There's nothing I can argue with that man about. But do you think? How do you think they're going to bring Magneto into modern MCU? Like, is it like? Do you think they're going to like time displace him? Do they use the Holocaust allegory? Do they just give him a new backstory? It's something I have thought about it because I'm like, him being a Holocaust victim is such a large factor of who he is as a character.
I think because of how once the team of the X-Men is established, at least in the comics, the age of Magneto is so accelerated from the rest of the team in the same way that Charles is.
Yeah.
So much older than the team. I don't think that it's outside of the realm of possibility to still use the idea of the Holocaust, depending on you kind of gotta. I'm trying to do like quick math in my head, right?
No,
And like,
he'd be well over 100 years old. I don't think you could use the Holocaust.
if he was like a child,
He'd still be over 100.
would he really? What? Because what year is it in the MCU right now? It's
2026.
Is it 2026?
Yep.
I couldn't remember if like if they'd actually caught up or if we'd caught up or if it was, but
Yeah, because they did their stupid little time skip, and that took us 2 years apart, or however many years was the time skip into Endgame. That already set us off a couple years, and then they kept going. If it's not 2026, I think it might be later. I'd have to fact check. I do not know off the top of my head.
yeah, I would. Because I mean, and I don't think that there's necessarily anything comparable to the Holocaust that you could make him a victim of
That's exactly what I think about. Like there isn't another thing.
without completely changing. The only Yeah, I can't necessarily think of anything because yeah, they're
No, there doesn't have to be an answer. I was just running it by you. Like it is something Chloe and I have also just like sat and thought about. Because if
unless
we're going to X-Men, not that you can't have Magneto, you can't have X-Men without Magneto, but Magneto is a very big portion of the X-Men's villains.
so unless there is a narrative way to do it that I'm thinking of now. Unless you take because the stuff between Bill Mesker, Sarah Gray, and Jean Grey
Yeah.
proves that somebody knows that mutants exist.
In the Miss Marvel show, they do dub her as a mutant. People do know that mutants are out there.
So because of the fact that they're in a way they could be holding in the same way that they held Sarah until they killed her.
Yeah. They could be holding Magneto.
They could be holding Magneto somewhere.
Which
They
would
could
be
have found
fine. I just
Magneto.
think that would be a crazy misuse.
Well, so it might be a it's necessarily the only way that I could think of that they could do
Yeah.
Magneto because of the fact that unless they time displace him.
Yeah, yes, that's yeah. I've thought about it. Yeah, I've tried to think about it. It just stumps me.
Or unless history doesn't line up in the Marvel universe anymore.
You only come from a different universe. I don't know, but that's just as
Well, okay, so no, because you'd have to displace both him and Charles.
all right, all right, all right, all right.
Because they're besties. So you'd have to displace both of them. But the MCU is no stranger to displacement because they're doing it with the Fantastic Four.
we'll get away from this. Who do you think? Who do you think the next solo Spider-Man villain's gonna be? Because I felt like throughout the home trilogy, we got kind of nods to where Spider-Man would be going next. Like, yeah, we got kind of nods as to where we're going next. And we didn't get that at all for this. Well, we get the something's happening in space, and it's probably going to segue into like Secret Wars and blah blah blah. But I know this movie's going to do incredibly well. Like I've already seen the numbers for it. This movie's going to be one of the best things that definitely could be Venom, judging by how many nods he had to Peter. Hey, we got another person. Hey, Bonnie the Bunny.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm saying it could maybe be Venom. I think it. I don't think it's
I
just
think with the fact that we're getting Secret War, Venom is the next logical.
What if I know in Secret Wars when he gets the black suit, it is not Venom. They have not conceptualized Venom yet. He just has a black suit, and then they're like, "Oh, but what if it was Venom?" And then they make Venom. So, like, I feel like it could make sense if Venom was already in him, and it just didn't have like a mascot, didn't have like a vessel to like express itself. And once he gets the black suit, he's like, bam! If Peter gets a symbiote in Secret Wars, when he gets that suit, he better hit that pose from the comic. Yeah, the what? Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's an iconic pose. Sorry, Bonnie. Adam and I were discussing. What do you think the villain for the next movie is going to be? Do you think it's going to? Are we going to be tackling other characters' villains? Do you think we're going to get a tried and true Spider-Man villain again?
I mean, I would hope that they would. In all honesty, I think this universe needs an Oscorp now. I think it's time for us to go back to basics. Either that or, I mean, they introduced a lot of villains in this movie. One that could possibly hold his own as a movie villain. I think Tombstone probably could.
Hoping for Kane or Ben Reilly to appear soon in live action. A Clone Saga would be crazy.
Clone Saga would be kind of insane, especially. We haven't even seen a lot of the characters that lead to the Clone Saga.
Yeah, but they're no strangers to giving those roles to other characters or just forcing them into the movie. I think it'd be crazy.
This is true.
The Clone Wars would be funny to me personally because he's already met 2 other Spider-Men that were Peter, but it'd be even wilder to be more Spider-Men that are Peter, but that are him.
That would be that would be so entertaining. It'd be like, wait a second. So I've met Peters that aren't me, and I've met Peters that are me. And this guy over here, his name is Ben.
Yeah, there's Peter, Ben, and Kane. Peter 1, Peter 2, Ben, and Kane. Yep. I'm really hoping for a. Could imagine them doing the point meme again. Yeah. I'm really hoping that they do a Spider-Man villain for the next movie. Jean Grey was cool. We got to see other characters. We got to see Scorpion pop up for a little bit. That was fun. But Scorpion was a
Jean Grey was more than cool. I can't believe you just said that to my face.
like I said. I think Jean Grey was a good antagonist. I do not like her as a Spider-Man villain for this movie. She
But
was like she
you
wasn't
gotta
even a
take
villain.
the you gotta take the villain the word villain out of your vocabulary for a little bit
I
in
know
order
it's
to
more
really
complicated
really
than
enjoy
that.
it.
She's a complicated
Bill
girl.
Nestor, that's a villain.
He's a bad man. Yeah, but
He is
Jean
a
dealt
bad
with
man.
him.
He's still alive. He
I
gets
want
away.
Shocker. I want Shocker back so in Secret Wars Peter can get back here, Shocker. That was crazy, crazy. I actually went back and watched the Spider-Man animated series either last year or the year before because I'd seen bits and pieces of it, but I hadn't just sat down and watched all of it, and so I finally watched all of it. Incredible watch. I highly recommend to anybody who hasn't watched them.
Yeah, it's great. I love that show. I grew up with that shit.
I didn't necessarily grow up with it. I think the first Spider-Man show I was probably watching was probably Ultimate Spider-Man, and then I found Spectacular, and then I made my way back to the animated series. I think I watched Unlimited before I watched the animated series.
That's insane. I can't believe you did that to yourself.
I just think that's what was on television at the time.
That's like watching X-Men Evolution before watching the X-Men the animated series.
I did that, but I loved X-Men Evolution. X-Men Evolution rocked.
Well, yeah, but it's not as good as the original series.
I liked it for I think it was a really good adaptation for like an early 2000s version of the X-Men, but I do understand what you're saying.
Well, I mean, that is kind of, that it's niche.
That is
Um
neat.
the
I still remember the Marvel zombies and getting traumatized by it. I'm not a big zombies fan. I need to keep zombies away from my superheroes because I also read like Deceased and stuff, and I was cool story, cool plots, not a zombie guy.
I'm also not a zombie guy. Vampires is okay.
Vampire, vampires aren't the
Cuz
same.
both well, right. I 100% agree. I'm just saying like both DC and Marvel have had
Vampires.
the zombie uprising and vampires.
Oh, yeah. Adam, I've been front running most of the questions and things for this video. We're at an hour 30, an hour 27. I was so mad when Ben Riley became a zombie, but luckily Kane Parker wasn't confirmed to be dead. I feel like Marvel Comics shafts Ben Riley as many times as they can, as frequently as they can. It pisses me off.
Yeah. He's his story's always been kind of crazy. If we get him in in the movies, I think I'll just be depressed. I don't know.
Well, no, that's what
I think
people
I'll
want.
just feel
People
bad
want a
for.
depressing Spider-Man. They want to see Peter depressed and poor and living off of spoiled milk.
Although technically, if you've watched Spider Noir, we do technically have a Ben Riley.
I like Spider Noir.
I did too. It was really good.
I watched it all in black and
Which I
white. I
think
might go back
technically at the
to.
end of I think technically they confirmed that he's technically Peter Parker at the end of the show, but he just changed his name.
He's Bonnie said one of Tom's old suits. Sorry, one of Tom's old suit homemade designs was designed based off of Ben's old suit. Which one? Like his? Which one? Just type it below. Do you have anything? Do you want to tackle because I'll probably wrap this up within the next like 15, 20 minutes.
So the biggest thing that I need to mention, the biggest thing is I can't believe that they sat here and let Peter be the one that creates the inhibitor collars for the X-Men.
It is crazy that going to the future, the technology of what's gonna screw up, ruin mutant kind is gonna be Peter's fault. Parker, look.
It's all gonna be Peter's fault. It's literally Peter. Peter is to the mutants what Oppenheimer was to the Manhattan Project.
That's awful. It is true though. I don't, Bonnie. I don't know why I blanked. The hoodie suit. That's literally my favorite live action Spider-Man suit. Yeah, the hood and goggles. I get you. I get you.
It's just insane to me that like, and we know Peter loves to talk. We know that he somewhere down the line he's gonna talk to Scott or he's gonna talk to Logan. And he's gonna be like, yeah, you know, at one point, or fuck it, Jean just tells somebody. Jean might just tell somebody. And they're like, wait a second, that little webhead is the reason why we're.
Yeah, and that's how you get a faction of people to hate Peter.
That's that could fundamentally change Peter's relationship with the X-Men.
I remember when Kane had beef with Wolverine. I did not know Kane had beef with Wolverine. Makes sense, but I did not know. I think it's funny that sorry, with the Kane beef with Wolverine, I think it's funny that Peter can get along with Wolverine, but Peter's clone can't get along with Wolverine.
That is kind of insane. That is kind of wild. But I also just got to take a minute to say Sadie Sink did such a good job as Jean Grey. Such a phenomenal job. I
need to see her with some other mutants. I think I will appreciate Jean Grey once more when she's not being an antagonist. And I know that 3/4 of the movie we dropped that, but she's still antagonistic up until she leaves.
Yeah, but if you think about the way that Jean is, even like in even Famke Jensen's version and Sophie Turner's version, right?
Yeah.
They both have extremely dark pasts before Charles takes them in. So this was just the precursor to her joining the X-Men. This was them explaining her dark past in a way that will allow them to focus on other members of the X-Men when they get to the X-Men.
Yeah, because we'll already be past that hurdle. We'll already be like, yeah, she had it rough. Let's keep going.
Right. We'll be able to get past that. Like, I think of all of the X-Men, the ones that really hold their own in terms of have their own separate solid stories aside from the main team, it's gotta be Jean. Storm would be good. Logan and Scott. And honestly, Scott
Kitty,
and Jean.
I think Kitty as well. But if Jean is so young, I probably don't think Kitty's going to be involved.
No, cause I couldn't imagine she would be. But I think Jean and Scott, I have a feeling that the very first, huh?
So I'm out of beer. Sorry, continue.
Darn.
Sorry.
I think I think the very first X-Men movie, I think Bombastic Bag Man.
Bombastic Bagman. What now?
That
The Fantastic Four here.
that is true. That is true. I think that the very first X-Men movie should be Sinister because of the fact that they've done what they've done with Jean, and because of the fact that Bill Mesker is here.
Also, X-Men 97 hit it out the park with Sinister.
That is very, very true. Sinister. Which I think that's the plan, because all of the rumors online are saying that they're casting Sinister, and it's apparently the front runner is Adam Driver, which would
Interesting.
be
I know they've been
very
trying to
interesting to
get him
see.
to. They've been trying to get Adam Driver to do stuff with the MCU.
And he keeps telling them no.
He keeps telling them
Kevin
no.
Feige said that it's like a ritual now. They call Adam Driver and say, "Hey, we want you to do this." And he's, "Nah." Click.
They said, Adam, we'll cancel Wonder Man. We won't make the Blade movie, please. Sad.
Which is insane.
Yeah. Yes. Very.
Which
Very
makes me
insane.
Which also makes me think slightly off topic. What other characters do you think that they asked Adam Driver to play that we've gotten?
I will answer you in a second. I'm going to read this thing real quick. I think what Spider-Man said about the X-Men is true, about how X-Men were kind of useless within the show. Within the show, he wants their help, and they said no, and yet every year helps them. Yeah. That's also, I feel like that's also a Parker Luck thing, which hurts every time. Every time something doesn't go right, I'm like, oh, yikes. It hurts.
That Parker Luck.
But yeah, and every hero will go to bat for them, unless you're Captain America.
Yeah. Play fetch, Cap.
It's a crazy. Yeah, that's a crazy thing that's a crazy blemish for Captain America to be an anti-mutant in most cases. Sorry.
Yeah,
run your question one more time. What'd you say?
I was just saying, like, what other characters do we think that like Adam Driver was offered and said no to that we've gotten?
I feel like he was offered Ghost Rider.
Which would be crazy considering how much Ryan Gosling has wanted it. Ryan Gosling has been campaigning for years.
Oh, Bonnie said Adam Driver as Dr. Doom would have been crazy. He probably would have been great because I like the visual of Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren looked so cool until he took off his mask, and I was like, "You ruined the magic."
That's very true. That's very true.
I remember going to that theater, sitting there, and within the first like 2-3 minutes, whenever Kylo Ren stops up laser with the Force, and I was like, I've never seen this before. And like he was at his sword, no matter how nonsensical the cross hilt, it looks awesome. Like I know it's just gonna cut my fingers up, but it looks cool.
It looks cool, but
I know it's stupid, but so are Space Wizards.
Space Wizards are not stupid. You take that back.
Youch. You think Hayden Christensen as Dr. Doom would have been amazing for If You Know, You Know the Reasons. What are the reasons? Like he's Darth Vader? I know he's Darth Vader. Is that the reasons?
I think that's the reasons.
I was like, you took something deeper? Who else? Who else would he have played? Dr. Doom, Ghost Rider. That's a good question. I guess I was thinking of heroes. What are some villains he probably would have he would be able to play?
Like, how many times do you think that he's actually said? How many times do you think he's actually said no?
At least twice. I wonder if they asked him for Kang.
That would have been interesting.
I
just keep thinking, like, How many times do you think that this man said no?
And what did he have going on to tell them no?
What? I can't even remember the last thing that I saw Adam Driver in.
I don't know. I think it was
I know he's in
some.
stuff.
I think it was some romance thing with Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that. I never
Yeah,
watched it, but I
besides
remember it.
that, I don't know.
But like, I don't know.
I wonder if
But
they get. I wonder
if
if they
he's
offered like
Sinister,
Galactus or something.
that could be possible.
I think he could.
But
He would be a good Silver Surfer. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
no, you're good. I'm just saying if he's Sinister, that that would be beautiful. That would be beautiful casting.
I
I think
have horrendous news. My phone's at 5%. We can go. We can go for like 5 to 10 more minutes, and I think my phone's gonna die. But I'll stay. I'll keep her
that's
going.
fair. Um, I just loved Sadie Sink in this movie. I any chance to see my girl Jean Grey in a film, it's okay by me.
Could have been
Jean,
Mark from
I
Invincible. He's too old to be Mark from Invincible.
it could be Omni Man.
He looks so silly in that mustache.
But no,
Bonnie, you're responsible for making a picture of Adam Driver as Omni Man or Mark. Either one works.
but I think I've spent a lot of my nerd life, defending the fact that that Jean Grey is great.
Jean Grey
You know,
is great.
people say that she's like that she's as boring as white bread. I disagree. I enjoy.
Mark, this is good
This is
news.
good
Oh, we have
news.
the map to Skywalker. The map to Skywalker? Yes.
But but yeah, and she just plays Jean so well. I enjoyed it so much. I don't know if I could say that she was better than Sophie, just because we had more time with Sophie. So I have a lot more. I have a lot more love for Sophie's version of the character, and obviously, Famke Jensen was just
Yeah,
you
and
know
Sadie Sink's defense, she made an appearance and she's not even in an X-Men movie yet.
this is very true. Oh, I think his phone finally died. Well, yep. I think that's it for his phone. Oh, just a theory. You think Peter Parker might be Spider-Man? That's it's an interesting theory. But but here's my question for you. Who's Peter Parker? I don't know who that is. But yeah, I think since his phone died, I think that's a good time to see you guys. We'll see you in the next video. And this has been a fun hour and a half talking about Spider-Man. If you guys want to hear more, then keep coming back to the channel. I'll see you later, Bonnie. I'll see you later.
I'm so sorry, my phone died. Thank you everyone for joining, and thank you everybody for watching any of this. Thank you. Shout out to Bonnie and Lonnie, I believe. Uh, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. We're probably gonna stream again next Sunday. Don't know what it's about yet, but we'll be here. We'll yap and talk about things that we love. Thank you very much for your time today, and have a nice night.